So, Mister izin buat merecord ya untuk pembelajaran kita kali ini buat teman-teman. So we're waiting about your friend to join into our room before we starting about the class. Assalamualaikum Atta. Good morning. And then, yo. So we waiting for 2 minutes live. Kita tunggu 3 menit lagi terkait pembelajaran kita pada hari ini ya teman-teman. Baru 10 anak, maybe we waiting for 3. Okay, maybe we can start our meeting on this class. But before we starting about the meeting, please on camera everyone. Tolong bisa buka kameranya semuanya terkait pelajaran kita pada hari ini. Taka, Rosan, Faris, Atta, Rahmat, Tio. Please on cam first. Okay, thank you, Faris. So wait again. I think 1 minute live again. Nah, Mister tunggu dulu sekitar 1 menit ya. Tunggu teman-teman kalian masuk. Ini baru beberapa anak aja yang masuk. Pagi itu selalu ini ya. Susah buat bangun ya, sesi pertama ya. It's okay. Oh, okay. It's no problem if any of yours is not on cam. It's okay. There any reason for this? Okay. Okay, it's okay, Tio. No problem. Sabda udah masuk, and then so yeah, let we start our meeting. Before we start, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, hello everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well today. About your academic responsibility, about your relationship between yourself and your family, with your friend, and also your responsibility with your God, right? So before we start on the meeting today, I'm gonna share screen first. So I'm gonna review for your homework last day with Mr. Danu ya, about the material about infer function. Di sini baru ada Delva nih yang mengerjakan, terus juga ada Hanif. Yang lain kemana nih? Ya, kerjain ya teman-teman untuk homeworknya. Don't forget about the homework. Agus, Faro, Taka, Kausar Farel nih, Paris belum ngerjain ya, Paris. Terus Faisal, Guzi, let's work about your homework. Untuk deadline-nya insya Allah malam ini, nanti silakan kalian kerjakan untuk homeworknya before the deadline is times up, right? Kalau misal deadline-nya udah berlebihan, nanti nilai kalian berkurang, right? So please discipline about your homework first. So that's your responsibility. You have to be obeyed to work your homework, right? So yeah, let's start our meeting. But before we go into our topic, let me introduce myself. If you don't know about me, let me introduce myself. My name is Rifki, and also you can call me as Mr. Rifki. Kalau mungkin agak ketuaan dipanggil Mr. gitu kan, kalian bisa manggil Mr. dengan Kak or something like that. Right. Okay, let's go into our topic this today. So the last day you have been learned about infer function, right? Di minggu kemarin atau hari kemarin, di hari Selasa kalau nggak saya, kalau nggak Senin atau Selasa gitu, kalian udah belajar tentang inverse of function, gitu kan? Dan hari ini kalian akan belajar tentang graph of function and its inverse. You have gonna be learn about the inverse relations about the graph. Jadi di sini ketika kalian kemarin udah belajar tentang grafik, tentang inverse function, kalian di sini belajar tentang inverse dan juga functionnya jika diimplementasikan ke dalam bentuk grafik. But before we go into the topic about the graph of inverse function right here, let me remind you about what about inverse means. Inverse itu artinya apa sih? Di waktu kemarin kalian udah belajar sama Mr. Danu, inverse itu artinya apa? So you can respond on the private chat, please, about what inverse mean. What's actually inverse mean? Bisa chat di private chat about what inverse mean. Artinya apa sih inverse gitu kan? So, okay. Oh ya, any of you inverse? Berkebalikan, Mister. Oh ya, yeah. Intinya berlawanan. Oh oke. Oke, thank you of you. Dibalik, yes, of course, dibalik. Ya, pada intinya inverse like kebalikan, atau pada intinya Mister tulis di sini reverse lah ya. Reverse it mean kebalikan. Atau di sini reverse or membalikan. Right? So if we have X in here and Y in here, so X mapping into Y is going to be f of X, right? Like the basic of function, you have been doing mapping X to Y is going to be f function. What about the reverse or inverse Y to X? It's going to be inverse of function, right? Ketika kalian membalikkan dari Y ke X, memetakan Y ke X or Y mapping into the X, you have been doing inverse of function. So if I expand in here, so you have X in here mapping into the Y, you have f of X, right? Again, and then you have been know X in this case is gonna be domain of f of X, right? Jadi X di sini itu adalah domain daripada fx. Sorry. This is f of X. I'm sorry. This is f of X. X di sini, you know, this is domain of the f of X, right? Oh yeah. Before I forgot about it. I'm gonna share Camille link to you. Sorry guys, I forgot about the Camille link. You can join in this, and then also I'm sharing to you about the whiteboard link of whiteboard for the response to you about the graphic. Jadi nanti Mister akan menyuruh kalian atau mengerjakan soal terkait soal daripada grafik ini. Nanti kalian silakan respon lewat whiteboard.file. Gitu ya. Maybe all of you understand about this? Okay. I think it's all understand. So let's continue about our material. X in here is going to be domain, and Y in here is going to be range, right? Karena ini fx, jadi x di selalu menjadi domain daripada f of x, dan juga y di sini selalu berkaitan dengan range. So this is basically is pretty important to you to make a graph, right? So what about the inverse of function right here? Di sini tadi kan y-nya kan di sini ya, kita petakan y-nya itu into the x. It's gonna be f inverse of x, right? So in here you have the y in here mapping into the x. Y, y-nya ini adalah y miliknya si ini gitu. Atau bisa juga kita wakilkan dengan x. Cuman lebih mudahnya supaya kita bisa kaitkan dengan f of x between f of inverse of x. So in here you have y mapping into the x. So this is gonna be domain. Y in of f of x is gonna be domain on inverse function, right? And then x in here is gonna be range of inverse function. So you have been know the theory K.2.2. Kalau misal Mister nggak salah, itu dikatakan bahwa domain of inverse function is equal domain is equal the range of function. Jadi domain di inverse function ini adalah merupakan range daripada functionnya, gitu. Dan juga sebaliknya, the range of inverse function is the domain of the function itself, right? So this is pretty important to you to work on the graphic of inverse. So let's go. We conceptual inverse function relatively on the graph. We applicate about this concept into the graph. So this is I'm gonna make an answer. So this is I'm gonna show you what we make a graph if we have function in here. So in here we have function. We have function f x 2 plus 1, 2x plus 1. I'm sorry. So if we have some function in here, we have function of x equals to x plus 1 in here, right? So in here we have domain. Di sini kita punya domain. Domain di sini kita udah tahu bahwa domain di sini adalah suara Mister terdengar jelas kan, teman-teman?
Jelas.
Oke, thank you for your response. So di sini kita punya fx sama dengan 2x plus 1. And then we have some domain right here, like -4 less than equal x less than equal 2. So in here, if you wanna draw the graph about the fx, we have to domain and the range, right? So what about the range? Bagaimana cara kita mencari range-nya? So you looking for about the concept of composite function. Like if you wanna looking for about the range in here, you can substitute domain into the function itself, right? So jadi kalian tinggal memasukkan endpoint about the domain right here. We have -4, and then we have endpoint also. We have number 2 into the function itself, right? So let me show you guys. Let me show you if we have f of this is we have -4. We can just substitute into the f of x. So you have 2 times 4 plus 1, right? 2 times 4 is gonna be equal. Anybody know? It's gonna be 8, right?
8 plus 1.
Yeah. 8 plus 1 atau 8 plus 1. So if you wanna 8 plus 1 is gonna be equal 9, right? So,
Tapi itu kan X-nya min 4.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Faris. Thank you for the correction. Di sini X-nya min 4 ya. Sorry. Mister salah. So we have, thank you for response for this. So in here we have -4 right here, right? So +1. So 2 times of -4 is going to be -8 plus 1. -8 plus 1 is going to be -7, right? Okay. And in here, you have endpoint of the range is -7, right? So I'm going to writing about the range in here. In here, you have -7, right? What about this then? What about this thing? It's the same way, you just substitute into the function. Jadi kalian tinggal substitusi lagi aja endpoint, titik akhir di sini, titik ujung daripada domainnya ke function. So that'll be number 2. So we have function 2 times x-nya 2. We just substitute in here 2. It's going to be +1. So 2 times 2 is going to equal 4 plus 1, and then 4 plus 1 is going to be equal 5. Now, in here, you have the range of the function to make your graphic, right? Okay, it's clear? Any question of this? If you don't understand about this, you can ask on the private chat, right? Okay, maybe everyone is understanding what I explained about this. So in here, you just ready to get this. We got number 5 in this thing, right? So we got number 5 in here. So this is so pretty important because what? Because this domain and range is the basic. This is the data of we have to make a graphic. Jadi domain and range ini adalah sebagai informasi kita untuk membuat grafik. So kita kan udah punya ini domain and range-nya. Terus bagaimana? How we can implement it into the graphic? So it's pretty simple. So you just make a graph axis of y. Kalian tinggal buat aja grafiknya, grafik basic, koordinat y dan juga x. So in here you have y and x coordinate, right? So in here the y, in here the x. So you have point right here. So remember, if we have domain and the range, also you have coordinate. You have been coordinate. Jika kalian udah punya domain dan range-nya, kalian bisa mendefine. You can define about the coordinate point in here. So in here, if you look at it, so I'm gonna copy this picture on the left side. So wait. So we have. Kalau misal di sini kita punya domain nih, domain kan selalu berpelurus ataupun selalu dianalogkan dengan x coordinate, right? Jadi di sini you just writing again in here. If you have -4 less than equal x less than equal 2, and then the range is -7 less than equal y less than equal 5. So you just writing again in here. Writing again in here, you have -4 point -7 about the coordinate right here, right? And then right here, you have point 2.5 right here. So we have 2 coordinates right here to make a graphic of a function. Jadi di sini kita udah punya nih titik koordinatnya untuk ngebuat grafiknya. Berhubung, if you know about this function, guys, if you know about this function, this function is linear of function, right? Maybe you have been learned about linear function. that you understand this graphic, if you visualize in the graphic, is always linear. Jadi ketika fungsi ini adalah fungsi linear, kalau misalkan implementasikan ke dalam grafik, kalian mempunyai suatu garis lurus gitu. So it's pretty simple way. If you wanna -4.7, so you can represent -4.7 into in here. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You can just make a graphic right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe -4 is going to be in here. So, and then -4 is going to be equal on the x-axis, x coordinate, and -7 is always in y coordinate, right? Oh, wait. Tulisan Mister kekecilan nggak di layar kalian? Guys, teman-teman. Cukup lah ya?
Aman, Mister.
Kelihatan? Oke, let's continue. Our topic. Nah, tadi kita udah nulis ini, koordinat -4, selalu berarti kan -4 di sebelah kirinya. Di -4, kita kiraan di sini lah. Terus -7 is gonna be like in here, right? So, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7 adalah here, so the coordinate point is gonna be in here, right? Kita kirain di sini lah, karena ini kita menggambar how to withdraw manually. Kita gambar manual is okay if not look perfect, but is maybe at least you can draw the graph. Okay, so in here we have done to make this coordinate lines into the graph. So after that, you have point 2.5. This is x of y. So you just implement it on the graphic. Number 2 in here is will be an axis. Number 2 is going to be like this. And now 5 on the y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this point. Yeah, maybe the graph is going to be like this on this point. So in here, right? Nah, ketika kalian udah menentukan nih titik ujung dan juga titik pangkal, endpoint of the domain and the range, if you have been implemented about the domain and the range of the function into the graph, nah, kalian tinggal gambar aja grafiknya. You just draw the graph in here. Here, right here. Right? It's pretty easy, I think. Many of you don't understand what I explained. Anyone in any question? Okay, maybe paham semua ya. It's pretty clear for you. I think it's pretty easy. So we have done draw the graph about f of x right here. So di sini kan kita diperintahkan untuk draw the graph about f of x. About f of x. So after that, after we draw about the f of x, we draw about f inverse of x. Selanjutnya kita gambar nih fungsi daripada inverse-nya gitu. So how we can draw about this inverse function into the graph, kan? Sedangkan kita belum tahu inverse function dari f of x itu apa gitu. But we can directly draw the graph into the graph dengan cara kita interchange about domain and the range of the f of function into the graph. Change. Nah, kita ganti nih domain dan the range daripada functionnya, kita tukar. Yang tadinya the range daripada function, kita jadikan domain sebagai domain daripada inverse function. If you remember about the oral material, you have been know about the K point. Okay, I'm sorry to you guys. I'm sorry to you about this. About K point 2.3, about material in inverse function. You have been know the domain of inverse function is the range of x, right? And then also the range of inverse function is the domain f of x, right? Jadi pada dasarnya, basically you have been know. Jika kita udah punya sebuah domain and range into the function, so in here, you just interchange about the domain and range into the input function. So misal, we don't know about the input function itself, but we know about the domain and range. So in here, if the domain of the f of x is -4 less than equal x less than equal 2, you're going to be implemented on the infer function. So it's going to be the range of infer function, right? Domain di function akan menjadi the range di infer functionnya gitu, right? So you just writing again in here. You guys in here have -4 less than equal y, right? Remember, remember, why this is y? Why this is y? Why not x? Kita lihat di sini domain di fx kan, f of x kan di sini domainnya x kan. Kenapa jadi y di sini, Mister? Why? Remember, guys. Remember, everyone. The domain of the inverse, right, always be equal x. Di sini, Mister perumpamaan aja bahwa y-nya di sini y-nya punyanya si f of x itu. Tapi pada dasarnya, if you want to draw the graph into the function, kalian ganti variabelnya menjadi y di sini. Because the range will be analogical on the y graph, y coordinate, right? So the domain always be equal on the coordinate of x, right? So remember about that, guys. This is pretty important for you to make a graph pretty simple for you, right? So remember, so let's go continue about the hour. Oh yeah, please remind me on the private chat if the time is up. You please remind me on the chat. Kalau misal nanti waktunya kelebihan gitu kan, Mister, waktunya untuk break time nih, silakan kalian ingetin Mister lewat chat gitu. Soalnya kadang-kadang Mister tuh ke bawah suasana gitu, lagi seru-serunya ngerjain soal malah break time. So please remind me. Ya, jadi di sini ada yang tanya. Jadi sumbu y-nya itu dijadiin sumbu x, Hanif. In here, kalau misal sumbu y di sini di f of x, jika kita convert ke dalam infer function, kita jadikan kepada infer function itu dijadiin sumbu x gitu, right? So maybe everyone can understand about what I explained. If you guys have some question, you just ask me on the private chat. Okay, let's go. We have done define about the range is -4 equal y equal less than equal 2, right? In here you have about the range of infer function. So the domain in here, the domain in here you have been defined into the range of the infer function. So the range, so I'm going to change the color. The range in here is gonna be equal into the domain of infer function. So we have just moved about what we know in here. We have the range of f of x -7 less than equal y less than equal 5. So you converting about the domain of infer function is gonna be -7 less than equal x. Remember about this, less than equal 5. So in here you have been know about the domain and range on the infer function, right? So in here kita belum tahu nih function of inverse-nya itu apa, kan? Jadi ketika nanti kalian ada soal dan soalnya itu disuruh untuk membuat grafik of infer function, you just define first about the domain and range about the infer function before you go work on it about infer function itself, right? Jadi kalian temuin dulu nih domain sama range-nya daripada infer function gitu kan, untuk mengefisiensi waktu kan. Kalau misal kalian ngerjain soal di waktu is gitu kan, misal itu kan diberikan batas waktu. Nah, for efficiency you just find first about the domain and range here, right? Okay, let's go continue. So in here you just implement it. In here you have been defined about this graphic So you just writing again in here, everyone. Kalian udah punya nih. Minus 7 into minus 4. And then we have 5.2. Gitu kan? Look at this. Look at this about the point, guys. Kalau di function, ini kan graph of function ya. Kita lihat tadi, di sini kan kita punya minus 4 point minus 7. And then 2.5. Nah, di sini kita punya nih, minus 7 point minus 4, and then we have coordinate lines, coordinate point 5.2. Jadi pada dasarnya ini cuma dibalik aja, right? Ketika kalian udah punya suatu domain and range, and you implement it into coordinate point, and you have to make a graphic of info function, you just change. Kalian tinggal tukar aja koordinat poinnya gitu. Gak usah ngerjain kayak harus mendefine minus 7 equal less than equal x, itu kelamaan. Kalian tinggal tukar aja gitu kan, titik-titiknya, titik koordinatnya. Okay. Maybe everyone is understanding what I explained. If anyone have a question, just chat on the private chat. Okay, let's go. We draw about the graph of info function. We have coordinate point minus 7 point minus 4, and maybe it's going to be minus 4 minus 7 on the x coordinate, 4 5 6 7 minus 7 is going to be right here, and then minus 4 on the y coordinate is going to be 1 2 3 4. It's going to be in here. So coordinate point is location is going to be in here. So writing again here. Nah, kurang lebih di sinilah untuk titik koordinatnya. Okay. And then continue about this. Kita punya titik of 5,2, 5.2. So we can implement it into the graph. 5.2, 5 in x coordinate, 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, you have 5 in here, and then 2 1 2 on the y coordinate, maybe in here. So the graph is going to be right here, right? So you just intersection about this coordinate endpoint to endpoint. Kalian tinggal tarik garis aja nih. Tarik hal ini untuk membuat suatu inverse daripada functionnya. So yeah, it's gonna be like this, guys. Kurang lebih gambarnya akan jadi seperti ini ya. So we have been doing about this graph. Goalsnya adalah kita kan disuruh ngebuat grafik daripada f of x and then info function. Nah, and then it's done. We have achieved our goal to make graph function of info function. Nah, sebentar. Jadi kan di sini ini adalah grafik daripada function terus f of x. So yeah, okay. This is break time. Any of you guys? Time to break time. So kita istirahat dulu. Setelah itu nanti kita lanjut bagaimana implementasi graf ini jika kita implementasikan kepada GeoGebra. Apakah benar bentuknya nanti akan menjadi mirip-mirip gitu kan? Ataukah nanti bakal beda gitu? So time to break up first, and bye-bye guys. Setelah itu istirahat 10 menit, nanti kalian balik lagi ke Zoom ya. So yeah, I'm gonna stop my share screen. So silakan bisa meninggalkan ruangan terlebih dahulu.